Though recent President-elect Obama put it on the map for many, Hyde Park is more than just the hometown of the current president. It's also the home of the Field Museum, as well as the prestigious University of Chicago, where the first atom was split. These impressive credentials aside, Hyde Park has much to offer in the way of places to see than just those mentioned destinations. I'm your host, Gary Morton. For many, Hyde Park is a home and a place where culture and diversity meets, sometimes in a sophisticated way and other times quirky. Nevertheless, it seems wherever you go in Hyde Park, art and culture are sure to follow. From the well-noted contemporary art curators to artists, to the centers learning the arts, to Caribbean cuisine, to locally owned shops, Hyde Park is truly an interesting place. In this program, we'll cover some places and see people who know all about Hyde Park in this edition of Hood's Hyde Park. With the history that spans over 100 years, a lot has happened in the way of Hyde Park. So we're going to kick off this show with a brief historical overview of Hyde Park to get a feel for the neighborhood. So sit back and get ready to learn all about Hyde Park.
A 157 years ago, a New York lawyer named Paul Cornell purchased 300 acres of property 7 miles south of what today is the Chicago Loop, thus establishing Hyde Park. Today, Hyde Park is known for its culture and diversity, and it is home to many places that are known throughout the city, such as the Museum of Science and Industry, the Art Center, and the Renaissance Society. But one of the most important of places is the University of Chicago. In 1892, John D. Rockefeller provided the initial funding for the institution. Rockefeller and William Rainey Harper, the first president of the university, hoped this school would be a force of Christian moralism in the Midwest, at the same time that it developed and promoted modern scientific research. The most distinguished academic scholars from across the world were hired in hopes of bringing in students from places other than the Midwest. Soon enough, the college became a major role in Hyde Park, and today it is known for its numerous faculty who have won Pulitzer Prizes. The other major event that put Hyde Park on the map was the Columbian Exposition of 1893, or more commonly referred to as the World's Fair. The focus of the fair was on the arts and architecture. It covered 90 acres and 201 buildings were constructed. The exposition lasted 6 months, and at this time, over 27 million people came to see the architecture, making this the most successful World's Fair to date for its overwhelming amount of people who came to visit. The people of Chicago were thrilled with this achievement. To them, it was more than just a fair. It was a symbol of how they literally risen from the ashes of the Great Chicago Fire. Soon after the World's Fair, Hyde Park would undergo a great change.
Well, after the World's Fair, what happens is there's a lot of hotels, etc., that are now abandoned because people are not coming for the World's Fair. But they quickly turned into residential hotels, and Hyde Park was a pretty affluent community. Hyde Park, like the rest of the country, went through the Great Depression in the 1930s, and of course in the 1940s the war had an impact on Hyde Park itself. But it's really after World War II that Hyde Park seems to be going down as an economically stable neighborhood, and that's when urban renewal takes place. Hyde Park was basically a white neighborhood until after World War II, and the university controlled the area around it to keep it basically white, but African Americans were moving into the neighborhood over time, And then you had a project called Hyde Park Urban Renewal, which removed over 900 acres of housing in the neighborhood. And instead of public housing coming in, was redeveloped either as university property. They homogenized Hyde Park. Elaine May and Mike Nichols used to say that Hyde Park was black and white were united in Hyde Park against the poor. Basically, poor whites and poor blacks were driven out of the neighborhood and their housing was knocked down. There were a lot of demonstrations. The Catholic Church condemned it. But it gives you the Hyde Park you have today.
Though controversial, the urban renewal helped make Hyde Park the safe place that it is today, allowing people of different cultures to live and thrive together. In the end, the renewal had a very positive effect on the neighborhood.
The neighborhood is very eclectic. It's very bustling and forward-thinking and liberal neighborhood that accepts all types of people from all walks of life. I love the fact that the university is here, so you get that you get a little bit of a college feel. But there's a lot to do. Many parks, the shops. It's just a good, clean community.
Hyde Park to this day is very cultural. While walking down the street, you will see tunnels filled with amazing artwork. Come see the beauty of the university's campus or get scientifically educated at the Museum of Science and Industry. So for anybody who loves the arts and cultures, Hyde Park is the place for you.
As you can see, Hyde Park has a rich history and culture and diversity, and not to mention amazing architecture. How fitting that the first black president came from such a diverse place. Up next, we head to the University of Chicago to explore the park's rich art culture.